Cattle producers know the value of grazed forages, and improving pasture production means better feed for your cattle and more profit potential for your operation. Matt Fleck takes us to north central Arkansas for a look at an exciting technology that can put more grass in your fields and more money in your pocket.
Growing more grass gives cattle producers their lowest cost opportunity to put more pounds on their cattle. That, however, is often easier said than done.
Producers need to pay attention to the weeds in the pastures because they are crowding out competing good forages. Every bite of grass that cow takes or that stock or calf takes, you want it to be something that's going to be nutritious and is going to lead to putting pounds of beef on that animal's skeleton.
Weed control is a big deal. When it gets hot and dry in the summertime, if that grass is having to compete with a lot of weeds, you're losing all that. That's our number one fight is weeds.
For every pound of weeds you have in your pasture, that's going to remove 1 to 1.5 pounds of grass. And many of these weeds are not palatable to cattle, and some of them are even robbing your yields because they will cause grazing avoidance. They have stickers and they're a pain for cattle, so cattle will tend to avoid them. If you have weeds, you don't have as much forage for your cattle production. Either you're going to have to reduce your carrying capacity, so you'll have to sell off cattle earlier than you wanted to, or you'll have to purchase feed and hay, and forage grown in your pastures is often the lowest cost forage you have. So if you have poor forage, you have to buy more hay. That's more expensive for your bottom line.
Fertilizing pastures is a tool many producers use to boost forage growth, but fertilizer alone does not address the issues of weed control.
Most of our producers fertilize their hay fields religiously, and then pastures are as needed. If they're stocking more cattle, they'll fertilize their pastures, and that just helps them grow more grass and raise more cattle. On pastures, if they put fertilizer on their pastures or hay fields and no weed control, they're growing pounds of weeds also. And so with some weed controls, it makes a big difference on their production.
Most of the producers in my area that are truly trying to realize a net profit are very interested in all the aspects of pasture management, and they're always looking for new ways to do things.
New Ulti-Graze pasture weed and feed from Corteva Agriscience allows farmers and ranchers to address both pasture fertility and weed control at the same time, and at the right time.
Ulti-Graze is our new service offering whereby certified Ulti-Graze pasture weed and feed retailers can deliver both your fertility needs and your weed control in one pass. Historically, what we've needed to do is to go over your pasture with a fertilizer application and then come back with a second separate application to spray for your weeds. This is a process whereby we can combine the two, saving you the cost of a second application and delivering not only fertility, but weed control at the same time.
The advantage of that for our farmers are window of application. Sometimes there's only 2 hours a week that's fit to go out and spray because the wind's blowing, chance of rain's coming, something like that. The benefit on putting it in the fertilizer is the window of application is a lot broader. It gives them more chance to get out and get the product applied in a timely fashion.
You get your fertilizer put on, you get some nutrients added to your soil, and you're getting weed control that they never could get before. And they're getting it early enough to do a good job. They're not waiting till the weeds are mature, and then sometimes we'd have failures with herbicides, and lots of times it was due because they were spraying too late. Now they're getting timely applications of herbicide and getting fertilizer on both at the proper timing, and it's been just a win-win for using both of those technologies.
For Brandon Olson and his customers, seeing pasture health is only one benefit of Ulti-Graze. Not only does the one-pass application process save time, but since cattle don't have to be moved off pastures before or after treatment, it also saves in labor.
The results we've seen have been very, very good, better than we had assumed, because most of this research has been 85 to 90% control compared to spraying. We're seeing 100% control of spraying just because they're getting out there earlier when the weeds are smaller. All our customers have been very happy with the results that they've received. We believe that the impregnating fertilizer is as accurate as spraying, if not more accurate, just because of the evenness you get, and it doesn't matter if the wind's blowing 10, 12 mile an hour. You can get right up next to the fence and know that that's where it stops. So that's a good benefit.
I had 60 acres that I used it on in the spring. I think we got it on at the last of March, maybe 1st of April, which this year I intend on using it, getting out there a little quicker. We was having a bit of a thistle issue. We was having some ragweed issue. And so we used it, and on that 60 acres this year, I don't think I had 3 thistles on the whole deal. There was no ragweed whatsoever. My grass was, thicker, better, a lot healthier. Once we got the weeds out of the way, the grass kind of come along and blanketed and covered the ground. And I feel like my cattle done better. They stayed healthier, looked better. It just lets you keep your grass in better shape to withstand a drought, the adverse effect of the weather might put on it.
If you talk about a healthy stand of grass being a very good mechanism to suppress weeds, then you ask, okay, what goes into keeping and maintaining a healthy stand of grass? So obviously it all begins with the soil test to know what the fertility needs are. When we talk about establishing a healthy pasture, it's fertility, it's weed control. When we talk about maintaining a healthy pasture, that's when we start getting into rotational grazing, not overgrazing, and making sure that that pasture goes into the fall a healthy, vigorous stand of grass.
Ultigraze pasture weed and feed is exciting technology to help pastures thrive. It is available through a network of certified applicators in 22 states.
As a producer, if you're dealing with a certified Ultigraze weed and feed retailer, what you know is that retailer has gone through extensive education and training so that they know how to do the blending of the herbicide onto the fertilizer. They're using dedicated equipment, and they have the highest standards of product stewardship. So you're going to be getting the fertility needs you are desiring, and you're going to be getting the appropriate herbicide for your individual pasture needs. If you happen to have your own application equipment, whether it's a truck or a buggy, and it's dedicated to pasture, then you will be able to go to your Ultigraze retailer, get your blended impregnated fertilizer, and you'll be able to deliver it on and to apply it to your own pastures.
We're here to help our producers, make them be more productive. They have a few more cows, that means they have a little bit more money to spend and more pickups to drive, and it helps the economy all the way around.
Reporting from Harrison, Arkansas, I'm Matt Fleck for NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman.
To learn more about the benefits of impregnated fertilizer or other Corteva products, visit the website rangeandpasture.com.